Coming up next on Bear News, we'll show you an inside look at the spring concert.
Later, we'll take a look at how students are helping to stop sex trafficking.
Bear News. Coming up, a look at the UNC's club hockey team.
It was warm today, but there's a chance for snow this weekend. I'll let you know why and weather.
We've got all that and more on this episode of Bear News. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us on Bear News. I'm Kristen Skovlich.
And I'm Megan Pressler. The ceiling can't hold the anxious fans at the annual spring concert. The crowd of 5,000 packed Butler Hancock Sports Pavilion Sunday for the biggest concert to grace the UNC campus. Rappers Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. While most rappers talk about the apparent fun lifestyles of alcohol and drugs, Macklemore takes a different approach with his hit song, Other Side. The song reveals the performer's personal battle to overcome his addiction to codeine cough syrup. Macklemore told the crowd Other Side is one song he doesn't perform often. Another song setting the artist apart from the many in the rap genre is Same Love. The song advocates for the equal rights for love regardless of who one is attracted to. With no Ryan Lewis to turn to and turn the music and beats, the show continues with Macklemore's manager stepping up and taking the reins. There was a little mishap at the concert when the turntable fell during the song Life is a Cinema, stopping the show. But quick thinking and quick hands allowed for a smooth recovery before Macklemore performed his most popular song, Thrift Shop. Speaking of the concert, the crowd of about 5,000 created a lot of problems before Macklemore took the stage. DJ Corleone took the stage before the main show, but an unhappy crowd got restless, and some were being carried off by concert security to escape the crowd. Kendra Cunningham said she was in the middle of the crowd, but eventually left because of how uncomfortable the crowd became. Jody Ward and Jarrett Durant both said they were both getting pushed and pinned against the barricade at the front walls. Ward recalls not touching the ground because of how squished she was. Durant arrived at Butler Hancock at 11 a.m. and enjoyed the concert from the back after the crowd pushed him around. Before Macklemore hit the stage, members of the UPC addressed the crowd issue and tried to calm them down.
Women's History Month is upon us, and one member of the UNC community is being recognized for her contribution to women in student affairs. Katrina Rodriguez is the Dean of Students and Assistant Vice President for Student Engagement, and is earning the 2012-2013 Wise Women Award, which is given by the American College Personnel Association's Standing Committee for Women. Rodriguez is receiving the recognition for her role in promoting development and involvement for women in higher education. We had snow earlier this week, and it's been warm since then. What's the weekend going to bring? Bear News meteorologist Paul Ford has your first look at weather. Paul?
Thanks so much, Kristen. Right now it feels a little bit like spring, even though spring break's not for another week or so, and spring actually isn't for another few weeks or so. But right now we're at about 63 degrees. Humidity is not a factor, but right now the wind is dropping the temperature a little bit. I know some people out there have wanted a jacket out there just because the temperature kind of feels more in the 50s than it is in the 60s. We do have a little public service announcement for you guys right now, though. On Sunday at 2 a.m. in the morning, you need to turn your clocks forward as we spring forward for daylight savings time. So if you're heading to bed on Saturday night and you're not using your smartphone as a alarm clock, you might want to plan ahead. Now, speaking of planning ahead, we've got some snow in our forecast for this weekend, and I will let you know where it hits the hardest, and I've got next week's forecast. But first, it's back to you guys.
Thanks, Paul. Coming up after the break, we have a review of the newest comedy out in theaters.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I joined Bear News because it's the best all-around broadcast experience you can get before working in the real world.
The UNC Recreation Center held a club sports game night last Thursday, where many of the teams participated. Clubs like hockey, soccer, rugby, and ultimate frisbee all united for a night of bonding in the gym. They kicked the night off with an adapted version of Capture the Flag, which got their blood flowing. Teams raced about to steal balls and tag opponents, and no gym session would be complete without a game of dodgeball. With over 40 students in attendance, the gym was home to an array of balls flying throughout the air. Students came together at the end of the night for a photo to remember the action-packed evening.
An exhibit, Art from the Heart, is currently being held at Michener Library now through March 29th. The exhibit is being held in the Mary Michener Gallery near the north entrance of the library. The show is sponsored by the Greeley Art Gallery Association. The exhibit leads up to a reception that will be held on March 8th from 4 to 6 p.m. Introductions and prize awards will be held at 5 p.m. during the reception.
Looking for some laughter this weekend? Bear News entertainment reporter Rachel Turnock has a review on the comedy Identity Thief. Rachel, is it real good?
Identity Thief hit #1 at the box office 2 weeks in a row in February, and for a very good reason. Colorado resident Sandy Patterson Bigelow nearly loses everything after his identity is stolen by a woman in Florida. In order for him to keep his job and clear his name, Sandy decides to travel down to Florida to bring his perpetrator to justice. However, he soon finds out that this might not be as easy as he thought, because Diana, the woman who stole his identity, is not going down without a fight. Once confronted by Sandy, Diana punches him in the throat and steals his car to get away from him. Determined to find her, Sandy locates Diana at her house and once again attempts to arrest her, and for the second time, he is met with a solid punch to the throat. Only after 2 gangsters show up at Diana's house to kill her does she finally agree to travel back to Colorado with Sandy, but only if he agrees not to turn her into the cops. From there begins the wild journey that is nothing less than a hilarious and at times even emotionally stirring. The unlikely duo, played by Jason Bateman and Melissa McCarthy, kept the audience howling with laughter throughout the movie, except for the few heart-wrenching moments. Identity Thief is jammed-packed with scenes that will make you cry laughing or just cry, and it is a definite must-see.
Thanks, Rachel. A number of groups on UNC campus have been working together to spread awareness of human trafficking. They held a week-long event from February 25th to March 1st. Last Monday, they raised awareness by posting red flyers around campus. The McKee Breezeway graffiti wall was filled with information on human trafficking awareness on Tuesday. Wednesday night at 8 in the Panorama Room, the movie Sex and Money, A National Search for Human Worth was showed. Libby Swinson of the International Justice Mission gave her speech, Voice of the Voiceless, on Thursday evening in Pikes Peak Ballroom. On Friday, the Greeley Panda Express and Cafe Mexicali gave 20% of purchases towards fighting injustice.
Well, if you've been outside today, you know it's such a nice day. But, Paul, I hear we're getting snow this weekend. What's going on?
Unfortunately, yes, Megan, we're getting a little bit of snow this weekend. Actually, not a little bit, a lot. And with some snow, we're getting a bit of a cool down, but I've got all those cold details after the break.
Salut tout le monde, comment ça va? My name is Raymond Jean-Antonia. I'm the French guy from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Listen, I just joined Bear News to have fun, meet great people, and perfect my craft in the pursuit of my dreams. So I thank you all for your support. You guys are great. Je vous aime beaucoup. Merci.
Welcome back to Bear News. I'm meteorologist Paul Four. Take a look outside right now. This is actually Candelaria Hall, which is home to us right now, the Bear News studios. We're seeing a little bit of a dreary sky today, a little bit of clouds, cooling down the temperatures a little bit, but it's not too bad out there. But what will be too bad is this low pressure system over here will be moving to Colorado over the next 24 hours, which will be causing a snow system this coming Saturday. So we're going to have to look out right now. But right now we're looking at some clear skies over Greeley. We see a few clouds here and there. They're pretty scattered over Colorado as you head down to the southern part near Last Chance and Bennett. We're looking at some more consistent cloud coverage, but when it comes to temperatures, we're looking at 60s over the Midwest right now. Even in Dodge City is at 66 degrees. If you head further south to Oklahoma City, we're at 70 degrees, and in Amarillo, we're at 80 degrees. When it comes to Colorado, we're looking at temperatures pretty ranged right now. Gunnison at around 36 degrees. If you're in Denver right now, it's a mild 62 degrees. Even if you head further south, we're looking at 70s down in the southeast part of Colorado. High for today was around 63 degrees, almost 20 whole degrees above average at about 48 degrees. When it comes to the low for Colorado, we're looking at about 29 degrees, which we hit this morning. So if you were out there, you probably wanted to bundle up before you headed to class. Lows for tonight, speaking of bundling up, we're looking at 30s across the Front Range, but here in Greeley, we're looking at about 25 degrees. So you might want to wear a jacket, even though it was a beautiful day today. Futurecast right now, we're seeing a little bit of cloud coverage, but as we head into the evening, there is going to be a few scattered snow showers over the area and especially into the mountains over the next 24 hours in the mountain range. We're going to see anywhere between 6 inches to a foot of snow. So if you're going to be heading over there in the next week for spring break, you might be in luck for your skiing and snowboarding season. Temperatures for tonight, we're looking at 50s, mild 51 degrees at about 7 o'clock tonight. Still some clouds out there, so still could be a little chilly. It will cool down at around midnight to about 36 degrees and will hit freezing for your morning commute at about 32 degrees. Tomorrow, we're looking at a forecast about 56 degrees, about 10 degrees cooler, and it will be mostly cloudy, but we're going to see a little bit of snow that night, but we'll get into that in a second here. Saturday, we're going to be dealing with a big cool down at about 34 degrees, and when it comes to the snow system there, we're going to be seeing anywhere on Saturday at about 6 to 12 inches of snow in northern Colorado, thanks to this upslope that this system might be bringing us. Depending on where that low pressure system ends up, there's a chance that we might not get as much snow as forecasted. That will change over the next 24 hours. But right now we're saying about 4 to 8 inches in the Denver metro area. And we're seeing this start around Friday night, anywhere between 7 and 8 o'clock-ish in the evening. So if you're heading out that night, you might want to be careful. As we head into the week, we're looking at 50s in the early part of the week and even a chance of 70 degrees the day before spring break. So if you're heading out anywhere and you're going to stay here, I mean, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful week. Now we're off to Ben Warwick with the sports.
Thanks, Paul. This week was just crazy on the basketball court. I'll have all the latest coming up right after this. Stick around.
I joined Bear News because I wanted to be a journalist since I was little.
Welcome back to Bear News. Well, just 3 games left. The men's basketball team headed west for a big road trip against Eastern Washington and Portland State. They've only swept this road trip once since they've been in the Big Sky, and they needed at least 1 win to keep pace in the race for conference tournament. Game 1 was against Eastern Washington, and this one came down to the wire. They needed an extra period to decide this one. Derek Barden was again Derek Barden here. He had 28 points and 10 rebounds. Tate Unruh had 21 points to go along with that, and Tevin Sajhovic had 16 points. UNC doubled up Eastern Washington 16-8 in the extra frame to down the Eagles 88-80. After the win, they traveled to Spokane down the coast of Portland, taking on the 5-13 Vikings. This one wasn't nearly as close. Barden was once again in double figures with 18 points, but Tate Unruh was a story in this one. He had 23 points, 15 of which came from behind the three-point line. He is quickly working his way up the record books from three-point land. Another 10 points from Tevin Sajhovic helped secure the 85-75 win, the road trip sweep, and UNC's second consecutive win. Now they need a win at home against Southern Utah to have a good chance at making the tournament. And at 4th place right now, that seems all but a certainty. Northern Colorado women's basketball has had a string of close games the last few weeks, but none quite as close as the game the women's team played Thursday against Eastern Washington. Deshara Strange gave the Bears an early lead with her aggressive drives to the basket. The game was tied leading into halftime until center Stephanie Lee hit a deep three to give the Bears the lead. UNC started off hot in the second. Lauren Osdike hit the second and last three of the game for the Bears to give them a 7-point lead. The Eagles chipped away at the lead for the rest of the half. Laura Hughes got the old-fashioned three-point play to go down for the late lead. Things were looking bleak, but Lee came up with a big steal and a pass to Strange, who knocked down the jumper. Take a look at this. The Bears were still down by 1 and needed a steal. The trap would prove effective. The jump ball was pointing the Bears' way. Everyone in the stadium knew who the ball was going to. With seconds left, but Strange still got her shot and sinked it to give the Bears a 67-66 win. UNC football team storming the court to congratulate. Well, it's that one night. It's that one night, the final home game of the regular season for the women's basketball team. That's the night that's all about the seniors. Last Saturday, forwards Hannah Thornton and Lauren Osdike and guard Victoria Tim were in the center of attention on the court. Each senior received flowers and a framed picture handed to them by head coach Jamie White and another player. It's a once-a-year event for the team, and it brings a lot of emotion to the game. Well, what did Coach have to say about Osdike and the other seniors?
One game never defines you. Her career has been stellar, same with Victoria, and Hannah's had some big games and just really filled a spot that we've needed, and just really proud of those three kids.
Great to see the support from Coach White, and those three Bears will definitely be missed. So actually an actual game followed the senior ceremony, but the seniors didn't take the spotlight during this game against Portland State. Junior Deshara Strange again scored 15 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. Her first two-pointer happened with under a minute, which started things off for the Bears. From then on, it was another one after another one for her. This basket counted as her 15th point of the game. Before Molly Dean made this three-point jump shot to bring the Bears up 18-10, Strange was the only scorer for the Bears. Going into halftime, Strange already had 24 points. The Bears were up 39-22 when the second half started, and they were ready to finish off the Vikings. Lauren Osdike shot two back-to-back jump shots to bring the Bears up 50-25. Hannah Thornton made this shot from the paint to bring the Bears up 56-26. With less than 5 minutes in the game, the seniors checked out for the last time at home and went to the bench. UNC finished with a 43% field goal percentage versus Portland State's 31%. Bears never lost the lead in this game, winning with a final score of 63-48. Well, it's been one heck of a season for the men's basketball team. Each game is still unpredictable for the Bears, but despite the roller coaster season, one player is adjusting quite well to the craziness as one of the best shooters on the team. Who is he? Bear News reporter Rachel Turnock has the story.
One player on the men's basketball team isn't just the big three-point shooter that most people see. When he's off the court, he's considered to be a very silly and funny, yet genuine guy.
So who is this mysterious player that wears the number 15 jersey? Well, this season he averages almost 13 points per game and is shooting 44% from behind the arc. He's none other than junior shooting guard Tate Unruh. So how did Unruh become the successful player he is now? Well, with a little motivation from his former teammate, Devin Beitzel.
He was really hard on me, and I thank him for it now because I'm glad that that he saw potential in me as a leader, and I love leading these guys. That's one thing I really strive for. It's a passion of mine in my life. I want to lead anybody who will let me.
The fact that Unruh wants to lead the team doesn't go unnoticed, especially for teammate Tevin Sajhovic. He says he can see the passion that Unruh has.
He's taking it real serious. He wants it to be his team. He wants to be the leader, and he's been working on it with Coach Hill and everything. That's why I think you've seen his game improve so much, is because he's taken it upon himself to become that leader, and which has helped him on the floor too.
So it's obvious that Unruh wants to lead the team. But what exactly is it about him that makes him one of the best three-point shooters in the nation? Head coach BJ Hill said it's the motivation that Unruh has.
He deserves all the credit in the world for that. He's the one that spent hours in the gym and sacrificed and dedicated himself to perfecting his craft. And as a coach, it's just fun to watch him play right now with his confidence and the rhythm that he's playing in. It's a special deal right now with the way he's playing at a very high level, and it's fun to watch.
So he's a tough competitor whenever he sets foot on the court. But what exactly does this tough player like to do when he's not preparing for practice or for a game?
Oh, I like to hang out with friends. I'm a big movie guy. I love movies. I have to admit, I went to Safe Haven the other night and I loved it.
This just shows that his toughness on the court doesn't necessarily transfer to the type of person he is off the court. Reporting from Butler Hancock, I'm Rachel Turnock, Bear News.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm sure the Bears are thankful to have Unruh on the team for at least another year. Well, with all the basketball craziness, can we forget that hockey just wrapped up their campaign? Now, while they're not participating in the postseason this year, next year they look to be a force on the ice. Bear News reporter Miles Gregory tells us who we need to be on the lookout for next season.
The number to look for on the ice next year for UNC's club hockey team. Sophomore Mike Tabram is ready to have a breakout season for the Bears. Tabram had 9 goals and 6 assists in this past season, which is a big improvement from his total of 4 points in his previous 2 seasons. UNC's hockey team is currently on their off season, and players like Tabram are looking to improve on their game.
put muscle on so I can be stronger. So I'll be stronger on the puck.
Tabram was lighting it up from his position at left wing during the scrimmage and scored 4 goals within the first 8 minutes. On the ice, it is all work, but the captain of the hockey team, junior Brandon Pugno, showed a side of Tabram not many were able to see.
He doesn't always try to be funny, but like some of the stuff he does is funny.
The Bears are coming off of a great season. They went 21-9 this past year, and with the help of Tabram are coming into next season prepared to reach region. Mike Tabram and the rest of the hockey team are gearing up for another great season. Look for number 27 to light it up next year. I'm Miles Gregory reporting from Ice House, Bear News.
Thanks, Miles. I know I'm not the only one who can't wait for hockey season again next year. Well, the only real use of an obstacle is to be overcome. Reporter Raymond Januk-Tonier met with people who make a living of jumping past their limitations, literally.
Parkour and free running is still unknown to most, but definitely worth to discover. I'm at Apex Movement in Loveland, Colorado to tell you more about this exciting up-and-coming sport. The term parkour comes from le parcours du combattant, which means the path of the warrior. An obstacle course method of military training proposed by the French and inspired by the athletic skills of indigenous tribes in Africa. Described as flexible, nimble, and resistant despite having no tutor in gymnastics other than nature itself, their legacy now sparks an exciting new philosophy and the idea of human reclamation. Trainers Jesse and Justin Clark, tell us a little bit about what this is all about.
Humans, we forget we're animals a lot of the time, and what parkour is really moving the way that we're made to move, that biology has provided us a way to move. We do what our body was meant to do, and that gets us fit by itself.
We are demanding the elite fitness of every single sport and every single specialty that we have. Running, climbing, jumping, explosive power, all of these things, and we want to try and get the farthest the best of everything.
Sibling rivalry is still in full effect for these two brothers.
But let's be honest, we spend every day trying to outdo each other.
Yeah, there's no slugging in the middle of class.
We save it for after.
But they put their forces together to reach out to the community and local schools like UNC.
We've been trying to go to CSU, go to UNC, and go to Greeley to train, but it's cool if people can just contact me and Jesse, even off our cell phone numbers, and be like, hey, we want you guys to come out here and train at Greeley or at UNC. I mean, Jesse and I are down to go and train. Any new spot we love. That's like part of the sport, is finding new places to train.
Reporting from the Apex Movement Center in Loveland, Colorado, I'm Raymond Januk-Tonier, Bear News.
Thanks, Raymond. For more information, visit www.apexloveland.com or call 970-593-8056. Well, it's the beginning of March, so that means it's time to try and figure out the madness. And it certainly has been madness in the Big Sky lately. Let's look at the postseason scenarios for both teams. With a win tonight versus Southern Utah, the men's team will clinch a berth in the Big Sky tournament. Currently, they sit in 4th place, but that will most likely change, seeing as the teams ahead of UNC in the standings play this weekend while the Bears are off. All you need to know right now is if the men win tonight, they're in. So get out to Butler and support them. All of the other games have no effect except for seeding. Now, for the women, they have to beat Southern Utah tonight in Cedar City. That's a must. The difference between this game and the last game against the Thunderbirds is that coming into Greeley, they had 12 days between games. This time, they just have 2, while UNC is nice and rested, having not played since Saturday. The next 2 games for Montana are huge. According to official Big Sky tiebreakers, if the Lady Grizz lose either of their last 2 games, UNC will lock themselves into the 1st seed and will host the tournament here next weekend. If Montana wins out, they'll host it in Missoula, and UNC will lock themselves into the 2nd seed. We'll have a special tournament preview show next Tuesday right here on Channel 98 and on our YouTube page, where we'll spell everything out in detail. But as it stands right now, Saturday is just going to be huge.
Well, but everybody will be showing up at the game tonight, hopefully.
Absolutely. They really need to get out there and support them there. This is a big, big game, and they need everybody's screaming and yelling. And
if you have a loud crowd, hopefully they'll get the energy from us, too.
After the break, we have your weekly Pinterest photo.
Stick around. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Well, it's time for our weekly Pinterest photo. Have any extra strawberries in your fridge? Well, this evening, make sure you blend a delicious strawberry smoothie with honey, Greek yogurt, and crushed ice. Thanks.
If that doesn't make your mouth water, I'm not sure what will.
I know. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We'll see you next week. Good night.